Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from a throwaway account from the relationship advice subreddit. It has a couple of updates attached to it. It's titled, I 37 male want to try and get back with the one who got away. 36 female. Is there any chance of that happening? I've been tearing myself apart thinking about her and how things ended. I can't stop no matter how much I try. This is going to be a long post and I know I'm writing a lot of rambling and nonsense. When I 37 male was 20, I met the most beautiful woman, Leela, who was 19 at the time. She was beautiful both inside and out. She had the most gorgeous dark brown hair that looked red and purple when the light hit it just right. These golden brown eyes and lashes that looked like a doll's. Freckles on her rosy plump cheeks and a single dimple when she smiled a certain way. She was a year younger than me, but yet she was always so much smarter and mature in every aspect. We dated for 2 years. I met her parents and her no-nonsense cop father definitely gave me the stink eye at first, but he grew to like me. Her mum adored me right off the bat, always commenting on how my green eyes complemented her daughter's golden brown eyes in the most romantic way. I still don't fully understand what that means, but I liked the compliment. Her younger siblings loved playing in the backyard with me. She met my parents and 2 brothers, and they all loved her right off the bat. My younger brother was the same age as her and they would go into college together and would help each other study in some of the shared classes their majors had. Hell, even my 6-month-old dog I had adopted before even meeting her seemed to like her more than he liked me. She told me her dreams, how she wanted to own a home that was tucked away from everything but not completely isolated, how she wanted to be a doctor and that she wanted to help people. She wanted to be a pediatrician. She loved kids. She always said she wanted a family. She didn't care how many kids she had. She just wanted to experience the ups and downs of motherhood. She wanted the good, the bad, the ugly. I listened to her go on and on about baby names and how she would design a nursery. At the time, I thought I wanted kids too. I wanted to marry this girl and give her the family she so clearly wanted. She was my Leela. I wanted to stay with her forever. I was young, but I was in love with her. After 2 years of dating, I started to realize that I didn't want to have kids. I thought I was just being around too many of my bratty cousins and that was turning me off from the idea. But the more I thought about it, the more the idea of having to be a father made me sick. I would get headaches, my stomach would twist in knots thinking about having to take care of some screaming, crying and shitting little thing, and then having to grow it into a tantrum-throwing toddler, a bratty child, and then some moody teenager. I didn't want to be held down like that. I wanted to travel, have money, be free. After a few drinks one night, I ended up telling all of this to Leela. I remember she went quiet and simply said, I won't try and change your mind, but I'm not giving up my dreams. I remember scoffing and rolling my eyes, telling her that we weren't going to have kids. She stood up from the couch and said, you might not want that anymore, but I still do. I'm not going to try and force either one of our minds to change. Then one of us will end up miserable. I realized she was breaking up with me. And even though she was so calm and mature about it, I remember feeling so angry. She was walking around the apartment gathering her things and being completely silent. I kept arguing with her, trying to change her mind. I kept telling her that it was stupid to want kids, that they were annoying and a waste of time. When she still didn't budge, I started to insult her. I said she was stupid, that she was a weak woman for wanting to be a mum, that she should just give up on being a doctor so she could push out her brats. Leela finally started to respond to me, telling me to calm down, that we simply wanted different things in life and that was okay. I hated her in that moment, that she wasn't agreeing with me. I remember punching the wall of our apartment, kicking a door, throwing anything I could get my hands on. She watched me wreck our living room and kitchen, not saying a word. She walked past me and left. This whole thing happened over a few hours. In less than a day, I lost the love of my life and my apartment was now trashed. Of course, news of why we broke up and my reaction to it reached my family. My mum cried hearing how I reacted. My dad gave me the coldest look I'd ever seen. My brothers both said I was an idiot, and my younger brother saying I was lucky Leela hadn't called the cops on me during that. That was 15 years ago. I've tried to have relationships since, but they never lasted more than a few weeks. I travel around for work, but now I'm back in the same town Leela lives in. Leela got married, got a doctorate, had kids, and is still a pediatrician last I heard. I know my younger brother still kept some contact with her in the first few years after the breakup. He even invited her to his wedding, but she declined because she didn't want to cause drama. I'm back in her town, the town we both grew up in, dated in, lived in, and where she currently lives. I can't stop thinking about her. I miss her so much right now. I miss her sweet perfume that smelled like a bakery, her strawberry shampoo, the way her hair looks in the light. She's 36 now, and I want to reach out to her and make amends with her. I want to hold her and hug her one last time to tell her I love her and I'm sorry. I don't know if that's a good idea, but a part of me needs closure. I don't know what to do. I want to sweep her off her feet and have her be my love again, but I don't know if that ship has sailed already. Bro, she's married, she's got children. Leave her alone. It's that simple. She can't give you the closure you need. You need to just accept that she's moved on now. She's a different person. This was 15 years ago. She isn't going to solve anything in your life. In fact, you'll just be causing yourself more pain and disrupting a stable family. Leave it alone. And I know it's a very Reddit thing to say, but I seriously suggest you look into therapy, that you're so fixated on someone like this. And I wouldn't be surprised if you caused her some kind of trauma in the way that you broke up with her, the way you completely flipped out. I'd imagine she looks at you in a completely different way now. Seriously, mate, I would seek some therapy, seek some help, and move past this. But leave them alone. No Stop says, what exactly makes you think she'd ever want to leave a man she's far more compatible with than you and the children she wanted for years? For a pissed baby man-child who threw a massive tantrum over breaking up because of irreconcilable differences. She has everything she's always wanted. Why would she throw that away now? Punk Librarian says, and quotes, part of me needs closure, and says, you already have all the closure you need. She broke up with you because your life goals were incompatible. She's married with kids. You didn't want kids, remember? And has a career as a pediatrician. Leave her alone. Courage Bubbly says it's been 15 years? At this point, you were scary. Karmaki says, seriously, someone needs to warn this woman that some creep she dated almost 2 decades ago is still this fucking stuck on her. Does she even remember this arsehole's name? Meanwhile, his brain is at a standstill in 2007. Opie says, I tried to move on. I've dated others since. I've lived my life. My brothers and my parents never really let me forget her, and they always blame me for why they don't speak much to her. When my younger brother got married about 3 years after our breakup, he still tried to invite her to his wedding because the two of them had been friends. She declined to attend because she didn't want to cause tension and drama. She still sent a gift and a card. My brother was pissed at me when she declined and says, had I not been an idiot, he'd still have his friend. My parents and siblings still send her birthday and Christmas cards, and they even send her wedding gifts when she got married, then the baby stuff when she got pregnant. My dad is friends with her dad, and so he still hears about what goes on in her life. My parents never let it go, how I ruined the perfect thing for everyone. 4 days later, Opie comes in with her first of 2 updates and says, I recently reached out to an ex-girlfriend of mine to see about meeting up and catching up on life. I didn't expect her to respond to me, and as we ended on bad terms. She responded. We ended up messaging for a while and did some catching up. I finally asked her if she'd be willing to see me in person, and she said she'd be willing to meet up with me. I'm over the moon, but I'm also nervous about going on a date with her. She's 36 and I'm 37, and our last time being on dates with one another was close to 15 years ago. Our date is tomorrow evening after she gets off work. I'm scared I'll mess things up again. I already feel like she's being too generous with me by even agreeing to speak to me again, let alone see me in person. but I'll take any chance I can to try and make things right with her. I can't shake this horrible feeling in the back of my throat that I'll mess something up. I'll just end up more heartbroken than before. That I'll come on too strong and she won't want to see me ever again. I've bought her favorite flowers for her. I've already made sure to start re-wearing her favorite cologne of mine from all those years ago. I've been practicing what I need and what I want to say to her. I have no idea how this date's going to go, but I just need to type these feelings of nervousness I have. Oh dear, my palm is on my forehead right now. It's being called a date. No. Mixie says, yeah, you're already messing things up by calling it a date. That woman is married, has kids, and is probably just being nice. Hope she shows up with her husband just so you get the memo for once. Snage says, please update us on how poorly this goes for you. Hemlock Angelina says, I'm assuming a restraining order is in his future. So 4 days later, Opie comes in with another update and says, following my last post, I reached out to Leela. I had to. I know a lot of people wanted me to never contact her again, despite how I wanted to make amends with her. I reached out to her and she responded and we chatted back and forth a bit. After a bit of this, I asked her if she wanted to meet up and basically let her set all the ground rules. She agreed and 3 days ago we went out on a date. She's just as beautiful as she was when we were together. Her figure filled out and she finally lost the baby fat on her face. But she was still the same woman I fell in love with all those years ago. We sat down and talked. I didn't know how to talk much about myself, but she asked about my life, so I had to. She asked about how my job, my family, how I'd been, typically catching up stuff. I'll admit I was zoned out for most of this as I was operating on autopilot to keep my nerves from taking over. I just wanted to grab her and hold her and kiss her and make her mine again. I don't think I realized just how much I missed her until she was right in front of me. Finally, when she was done asking about me, I finally got to ask about her and how she's been. She got married 11 years ago. So 4 years after our breakup, she has 2 daughters, an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. I saw how happy she was when she talked about them and I couldn't help but feel jealous and guilty. I should have been the one to have children with her, but I was stupid and now she has kids with someone that wasn't me. I asked about her husband and turns out she's a widow. He died 7 years ago while she was pregnant with her youngest. It was unexpected according to her, but that she's done her best to move on and hold herself together and appear unaffected by it all for her daughters. I asked if she was seeing anyone and she said no. I asked if she ever thought about me after our breakup and she got vague with her answers. I told her she could tell me blunt what she was thinking. Leela said that she was very depressed after our breakup. She had built a future of us in her head and she felt like I broke it on a whim with no warning. She said she lost her first real relationship and all the dreams she had with me when we broke up. She admitted that she'd been so attached and in love with me that for a while she almost tried to convince herself that she didn't want kids. But no matter what she did, she couldn't stop herself from wanting to be a mum, and she knew that if she gave up that voluntarily, she would be miserable for the rest of her life. I asked her if I scared her that night, if she felt threatened by me at all. She said the yelling overwhelmed her and while the commotion frightened her, she wouldn't say she feared for her safety or life, so that gave me hope. I apologized to her about how we broke up and told her I'd regretted everything I did and said that night. She said she'd moved on and forgiven me years ago. She was always very forgiving and a kind person, part of the reason I fell in love with her in the first place. I asked if she was willing to give me another chance and let me back in her life. She was hesitant and got quiet for a moment. I could feel myself panicking when that happened. She said that she didn't mind me being in her life, but that I'd have to regain her trust in order for her to consider even trying to date me. I was disappointed, frustrated, and very disheartened. But I knew if I came on too strong, she'd turn me away completely. I told her I'd be happy to be in her life any way that I can, and that with her permission, I'd be working to prove I deserve a second chance at romance. I'm happy to have Leela send me back in my life, and I'm going to work on proving to her that we should get back together. I hope that we can have the family and life she always talked to me about. I know there's still time, but the clock is ticking on it. I'm hoping that one day I'll be posting for advice on the family we'll have together, if all things go well. Poster Bomber says to OP, this is heartbreaking, but the kid's dad isn't there to protect them from you. Hopefully her cop father is still in the picture. Another commenter says, this is probably a quit while you're ahead proposition. She already has a family and may not be looking to subdivide the time she has as a widowed parent to take on the immense challenge of starting over. She may with time be willing to date you, but until you can dispense of your fantasies about her being a blank slate you can imprint yourself onto, this is likely doomed. Opie says, when you say starting over, I assume you mean with a new baby. She always wanted a lot of kids. She'd be happy if she got pregnant again. I know she's a little disappointed about only having 2. She used to say she didn't care how many she had, but she also made comments about wanting 4 when we were together. And I kind of feel like after that, was she just saying these things to get herself out of that situation? Because it just sounds like delusion. From initially calling the first meetup with her in years a date, when at the time he thought she had a husband, to the very last comment where, just met up with this person and he's already thinking about future family. Lots of therapy, but I really wish that Leela has some kind of support in the background that's going to help her through this, because like I said, the guy in this just feels unhinged. It just sounds scary. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And for our next story, let's have a little bit of neighborhood drama from Puppy Problems 23, who says, am I the arsehole for getting our neighborhood dog Olympics cancelled instead of bending the rules for a neighbor? Neighborhood dog Olympics. I understand that this is a silly issue to have, but it's an issue we have and I need advice. 5 to 6 years ago, my HOA decided our neighborhood is boring and encouraged people to come up with ideas and activities to liven things up. This, my Pup Olympics, was born. It's just the neighborhood dogs competing, poorly, in different silly events for 2 days and being rewarded with treats. Early on, there would be prizes for the owners of whichever dog won each event, and it really was all fun and games. After a couple of years, we started doing a paid entry for each event, and the money went towards cash prizes and a donation to a really great local animal shelter, where lots of us got our pups. Might be worth it to note that most people in the neighborhood choose to donate their cash prize towards the shelter fund, so we usually come up with a pretty great donation. People look forward to the Olympics every year. It's ridiculous, but it's fun, and we all loved it. 18 months ago, a new neighbor moved in, and she has a poodle who frequently competes in and wins dog competitions. This dog has 1 million followers on Instagram. We all follow the page and obviously root for this dog in the competitions. No issue with the dog itself. However, it ruined Pup Olympics last year. The dog swept every single competition. There is literally one event for senior dogs that it didn't qualify for, and that's the only one that this poodle didn't win. We all just kind of stood there for 2 days and gave cash prizes to the same woman for every event. To make matters worse, she also didn't donate a single extra penny to the shelter fund. Bonus, am I the arsehole for if I'm wrong for being judgy here? This has taken an event for families and kinda turned it into something it was never meant to be. It's like having a professional athlete compete at high school field day. So Pup Olympics are happening soon. But this year my committee decided on no competition dogs rule to make it more fair for the other owners and families. The poodle owner got notice of this and has gone ballistic. Our HOA had a committee meeting and decided in her favor that we couldn't exclude her or her dog if we wanted to have the competition in the neighborhood. I thought about it and then just went ahead and sent a cancellation notice out. Somebody from the HOA board tried to pull it back together, but just isn't getting much interest. Now the poodle owner has sent multiple vindictive messages implying that I did this to hurt her personally, and the neighborhood is split 50-50 on who was in the wrong. So am I the arsehole? Edit for more info. I didn't have space in the post, but to clarify, deciding to cancel was more of a long story short after 4 days of meetings with this woman to try and come up with something agreeable. First, I offered to do a couple of categories for more serious competition dogs, but was told by the HOA that I'm not allowed to host any kind of events that make it seem like any part of this is a real dog competition. and I tried to restrict how many events each dog can enter, and she wanted that number to be 8 out of 10 events. She wanted 8. That was the number she got the HOA board to agree with her on, and they basically told me that if I couldn't let that happen, then I couldn't host the competition. I'm trying to think of this from the professional dog owner's point of view, and can you imagine the lack of self-awareness you must have to take all these awards from the other dogs and be happy with that? I'd be embarrassed. And then after people complain about it, you've already got a lack of self-awareness here, but everyone's complaining about it, and then you still double down and go to the HOA to try and insist that you're a part of this. Could you happily turn up after people complaining about it? You turn up still and try and win all these events. I just find that weird. This is just meant to be a bit of fun for the local neighborhood, and it's just being pissed on in my opinion. Some people were suggesting maybe you should just have like a 1 prize per pup. I bet you she would complain about that at the same time. I mean, the amount of entitlement I'm already seeing is just mad, so it wouldn't surprise me. But Throne says not the arsehole. If you had a race for neighborhood kids and an Olympic gold medalist runner showed up to enter, that'd be an arsehole move. This is no different, and the fact that the owner can't understand why her pressure shouldn't be allowed to dominate the amateur competitions shows a huge lack of awareness. Jamola Momo says, you could change the event so the show dog can't win. Event 1, pup missing the most teeth. Event 2, pup that gets the messiest while eating. Pie plate filled with peanut butter and whipped cream. Event 3, most overweight pup. Event 4, pup with the biggest/smallest footprint. Have pie tins with plaster in it so the pup can make an imprint that the owner can keep after the Olympics. Event 5, bobbing for biscuits event. 6, 100-meter squirrel chase. Event 7, speed sniffing. Hide some small scented toys on the play area and time which dog finds the most in the shortest amount of time. 8, tug of war. 9, 50-yard dog paddle. 10, wiggle butt freestyle. Have the audience vote on the wildness of the wiggles, or the most wiggles in 1 minute. 11, best treat hunter. 12, freestyle howling. You can have a lot of fun thinking up bizarre events that the poodle wouldn't be a shoo-in. I tell you what, when I was younger, I used to have a boxer dog called Toya, and she would have won the wiggle butt freestyle. Whenever her tail used to waggle, she would literally walk like a crab at the same time and wiggle her butt. It was the funniest thing. Love that dog. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Do you see another solution to the matter? What event would you create in the Pup Olympics? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd create the sassiest dog. Poppy would definitely win that, let me tell you. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.